Hey everyone, it's Niki Shelton with Keeping It Real, and obviously I'm here with Kerri today. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm happy. The sun's been out for a couple days, and it was so nice.
I know it's been wonderful.
So, there's been a lot of questions like, the rates have been up. Should I buy? Do I not buy? Should I just keep renting? Those have been some of the big questions. So that's what we're going to dive in today. So let's get going.
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. We've got some stuff going on here. So I thought I would first throw out some these are actually some stats from back in, this is from our MLS here, and this is actually back in our Northwest MLS, because that's where our Kitsap County and King County and all those counties are kind of our MLS. So this is some of their stats, and these are from April. You can see here that there are, we do have a little bit more inventory than we had last year at this time. So, for buyers, you know what, that's kind of a good thing, because you get a little bit more choices. And it's not quite as competitive as it was a year ago. So I think it's a positive for buyers. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay. Inventory is always good. It changes it from a seller's market, because when there's a low inventory, you're in a seller's market. So, the more inventory it is, it becomes better for buyers, because they have more choices and they have more, they can make more demands on the sellers. So
There's not as many people going for the same house.
Right. So, there's not as much competition.
In a seller's market, people know that they can get you because they, will often get multiple offers on a home. And so they can drive the price up and get more out of the house than it's probably worth. So
absolutely. So it's, in my opinion, having that number increase for the buyers, that's a good thing. If you're a seller, not so much buyer, it's going in their favor. But still, you usually want at least 3 months of inventory to be just kind of a balanced market. So we're still, in my opinion, in a seller's market right now, but it is changing, slowly moving, kind of balancing it out here. So it's a positive. Okay.
And I think the weird thing about it is it's different than any other seller's market, because there's not as many people shopping due to the higher interest rates.
That's true. But we have had higher markets in the past, though, right? So, our higher interest rates in the past. So, we'll talk about that, though, right? Because we're going to get into more of that depth. So, okay. All right. So listings, you guys, you can see here from the numbers. It has went up from last year again. So we've sold more listings as a whole in the MLS, Northwest MLS. So again, it's like, the market, this is showing me that it's not necessarily slowing down. It's continuously moving forward, and, there's more active listings coming on, and it's starting to get more. So that's good. Again, more choices for the buyers, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then we have our final one that I pulled up today. And this is showing the median sales price. And as you can see, it hasn't went down. I know a lot of people think, everybody's going, and it really hasn't. It maybe has not went up quite as much as in the past, but it definitely has not decreased. So, okay.
It just goes to show that home prices continue to rise.
Absolutely. So it's a good thing. Because when you buy a home, that's what kind of what your intention should be, is that, you're investing in yourself. You're not investing in your landlord, and you're investing in yourself and your nest egg. So you would want that number to go up. Okay. So the ultimate question, though, is for today is, should I rent? Because like we just mentioned, the interest rates are higher. And do I wait for them to come down, or is it a better time to do it when some of these other positives are happening in the market? And we're going to go ahead and kind of explore that concept. So this is the big decision, right?
It is.
It's a huge decision.
To rent or not to rent, right?
Right. Should you rent right now? Because the interest rates are higher, and just stay there, or should you, really move towards that goal, and maybe, you might have to settle a little bit, I think, because, you're not going to get the house that you would when the rates were like 3%, but then you don't also have that much competition. So you're not overpaying for a lot of those houses. So there could be some benefits there, but I'm not going to get too far ahead, because I know I'm doing that. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next screen. So this is how we're going to make the decision. We're going to look at some real numbers and figure out kind of what happens. The pros and cons, right, Kerri?
Yes. So this slide actually came out better than the other ones. For some reason, when I saved this, all the information just got jumbled together. So definitely the first year, it's going to be higher than rent. You can see right there because it's going to include your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, also your maintenance and repairs. That's not something that you would have when you're renting, right? So it is going to be a little bit higher. But historically, rents raise about 4% per year. So you can see by year 9, you're actually going to be paying a whole lot more, $5,038 versus $4,056. So it steadily increases. And you'll see at about the 5-year mark is when you're actually making, will be spending less on your mortgage payment than you would be on your rent.
Right. And, okay, that's probably coming up, so I'm not going to jump ahead. But, that's a good thing because, I have heard a lot of people, and not only in this Washington market, but also in my Nebraska market too. I've had, people talk to me a little bit about, I'm renting right now and my landlord just raised their rates again. So they're continuously going up. And, I honestly, I got to go on the side of the landlord here for just a second because they're not, I don't think a lot of them are doing it because they want to be greedy. There are, I suppose, some out there like that, but I think it's just, it's kind of like selling your house. It's the market value that you're going to get, which I think is fair. And, and then they do have a lot of costs, and costs have definitely went up. There's repairs and maintenance and all that stuff. So they are going to demand more. And
if there's somebody managing their property, they're also going to have increased fees when they're managing the property too. So there's a lot of things to factor in as to why your rent could increase.
And I don't think a lot of people think about that. And then if they do remodels and stuff like that, the building supply is super expensive right now too. So because of the inflation. So
definitely.
They have a good point for raising the rates. But that's what happens. And now you guys can see it. That's what the numbers look like. Okay.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead.
So we're really going to look at the positive side of things, and where you're really gaining things would be in the equity that your home is earning because you now own it. You're not paying someone else's mortgage. You're not giving them equity in their home. So the first year, you're going to be upside down because you have down payments and closing costs. So that's why it's showing a negative number of $21,280. By the second year, your home has appreciated enough that you're actually up $1,645. But you can see over 10 years, when you take out what is left on the loan balance and then what you would have to pay if you were to sell, like your excise taxes and other closing fees, you would come out at about $298,084 better than 10 years previously. So when you rent someplace, is the landlord going to give you almost $300,000 when you move out?
Nope. They get to keep that.
Exactly.
They do make a profit. That they're in business. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their hearts either. They're doing it to make money too. And that's what else you have to consider. It takes their time and their effort. So, they are expecting a profit off of it too. So, it's repairs, it's maintenance, it's having people management, and they do want to make a profit. Some want to make bigger profits than maybe what people agree with, but it is out there. So,
and that's how people gain their wealth is through owning property. Right. And a lot of people will buy multiple properties, and that is how they are able to live. And some of them don't work. They just manage their properties.
Right. And I know when we bought our house, it, was under $200,000, and now it's well above that. And it's, but it's putting the money away every year and paying off what we can as fast as you can. And, but it's our asset now, right? Because we have that money equity pulled aside. So, it's a good thing. And the first couple of years were a pretty big struggle, and there's been some years in between where it's been a struggle, but you know what, you can make it happen. So anyway, okay, let's go ahead.
So there's a lot of things to consider when you're buying a home, and that's where the big flags go up for people. And we've talked about this before. They're nervous about where their down payment's coming from. How are they going to pay for closing costs? but we have gone over that there's programs for that.
Mm-hmm.
There will also be some entry fees when you're renting a home or an apartment. You're going to have to come up with first and last month's rent.
Deposit.
And sometimes
Pet
they'll want a
deposit.
deposit. Yep. A pet deposit. And then you really can't do as much in that home.
No, and if you do,
the
then you
benefits
have to pay
go.
damage deposit, or damages at the end too. You could be charged from, right? Isn't that?
Yes.
I guess they just take out your deposit, right? Okay.
And I see flexibility there. Renting offers flexibility to move easily. Not always, because if you are in a lease and you break the lease, then often they get to keep your deposit as part of that. So it does offer some flexibility, but I think that it's kind of a fair thing for either of them, because you could easily rent your house out as well. If you were in a position where you could go buy someplace else, or you just needed to get out fast and needed to rent your house out to someone, in this area especially, you would have no issues renting your house out. There's such a huge demand for it.
I'm really seeing that kind of, I was seeing it back in Nebraska too. It seemed like there was a big high rental market because, there's just not enough houses all over right now. So they're building. And what's interesting is when I came back, so like I said, I've been in Nebraska and kind of in and out for a while, but there are like 1, 2, at least 3 big apartment buildings that weren't there when I left. And so they are building them, and and that's a good thing, I think. And maybe that will help decrease rates a little bit, but it doesn't seem like that though. It seems like it's kind of holding pretty steady and possibly increasing too. So
yes,
and I don't do rentals, so I can't advise you on that one, but
exactly.
But
being a renter, there's definitely less responsibility, because you don't have to take care of anything that would break potentially in the house. That's what the owner is for. So they come in, they do the maintenance on your water heater, on your, heater that heats the house. They probably keep up on the gutters and the roof. Well, those are all things that you financially are responsible for when you move into a home. Something breaks, you're paying to fix it.
Yep.
So that's one disadvantage. But I want you to think about not just today and what position you're in today, but where do you want to be 10 years down the road? Would you like to be in an equity position where you can maybe not buy your dream home as your first one, but in 10 years down the road, you have $300,000 in equity, opening up the opportunity for you to finally buy your dream home? That could be a huge down payment, and your monthly payment on your mortgage could be very similar to what you were paying before. So definitely pros and cons to both.
And I think last year, the rents might even actually been a little bit higher than some mortgages at some points. They were getting quite high. So, you don't know. It's kind of like with the real estate. You really, you can kind of predict or try to predict what's going on, but no one really has that crystal ball to do that. But I've seen it kind of both ways. It's like, why are you renting when you could be, purchasing your own house? And anyway,
it's one of those things that when you're not doing what we do, you don't really think about it. You're not informed, you're not educated about the benefits of home ownership. There's a lot of people in this new generation that don't see the benefit in owning a home. They are just fine renting from other people. That's all good, but you're making someone else wealthier.
Right. And and when I look back, and this was like when I first started doing these talk shows like this, that are these broadcasts that I did, way, way back at the beginning. One of the things that, it's like when we were first starting to talk, like, why would we want to buy? I always I wish I would have done this earlier. I don't know anyone who I know who's bought a house who said, oh, I wish I waited another 10 years. Everybody wishes they would have bought an earlier, started putting that, that money into their own account, their own nest egg, rather than paying it to somebody else. And a lot of times it's just meeting with people and asking the questions. And I don't ever think that's a waste of time. I think that, even if you're just kind of thinking about it, I say it's not a waste of time. It's definitely, at least you have the knowledge is power, right? So you have some information, and then you can kind of figure out where you want to go with it. But I think we were kind of scared to go ask those questions, or to go talk to a lender, or to go talk to a real estate person. I think that fear of not knowing, I don't want to look dumb if I can't do it, kind of thing. And I think that held us back for a couple of years. And I really wish we would have acted a lot sooner. And we're actually in California. So yeah. Anyway.
Well, and people could be super aggressive in our industry too. Let's face it. they're kind of like hound dogs. Once they get your scent, they're going to just keep on sniffing. So that's one of the things that I see that's a downfall about our industry, is that we are a little bit too much of a, there, you can be too persistent sometimes. When people are just wanting information, it's important to let them know that you're still thinking about them. But when it's constant, people just will totally ignore you, and then it totally puts them off of you altogether. They'll wind up going somewhere else. So you just basically were spinning your wheels. So it's good to give information and then just to do those light touches. Hey, I'm here if you need
it's
me.
like when you're ready, like I'll check in with you a year from now or 6 months from now, and give it some thought, and let's talk again. And I don't do that. I hate doing people who are kind of like calling me one time. I like to talk to people, but I don't necessarily want to be called like that. So I agree. But do check it out though. And I encourage my kids to talk to Kerri, because I trust her advice, and just get that information, and then what they do with it, it's up to them, but at least they have that knowledge. So
they're well informed.
Absolutely. And that's
important. Then when it's the time, they're going to actually have the most information that they need, and they'll be able to make a well-educated decision.
That's what I'm hoping. I got one in a house, well, kind of, sort of, and a lot more left to go. Okay. So
look at the statistics. 3 out of 5 people rent instead of buying.
It's crazy.
Isn't that? Yeah, that seems insane.
And especially with, I believe it, I'm not sure if it's still like that, but I knew that like last year or beginning of the year, it was actually, if you had a lower credit rating than someone who had a higher credit rating, you actually got a better, I don't know if that's still the case. You got a better, you could get a better mortgage rate with the different programs and stuff out there. I don't know if that's still the case today, but again, it's just getting in and asking those questions. What type of programs? It's kind of like going to college. I'm like looking at all these stuff for college with my son right now, and it's like I have no clue. And I feel kind of that same, like,
out of your depth.
Ignorance. Yes, like I don't understand. I don't know how it all works. I haven't done it for years and years and years, and it's like, talk to a professional. I mean, that's what they're there for, right? So I'm having lots of conversations.
And what you were talking about was they actually were trying to even the playing field, because if you had excellent credit, you had much better rates than someone who was a low credit borrower. They put in place these things called loan level price adjustments. And so there's a really sweet spot when it comes to conventional loans as to when your pricing is good. And it also has to do with how much you're putting down too. So on a government loan, like an FHA loan, you're not going to be hit with those loan level price adjustments. But on a conventional loan, they did try to even the playing field a little bit and make it more fair for people that were less credit worthy. Doesn't make sense to me that you're punishing someone who has worked to keep their credit excellent, but I don't make the rules. I just have to follow them.
Yeah. But but again, sometimes that works in your favor. So if you're one of the 3 out of 5 who are renting or who are renting instead of buying, you might want to talk to somebody and see what you can do. And like sometimes you can get in at a very, very low, down payment. So, and with down payment assistance programs, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. So definitely check it out. Homeownership is increasing. I mean, I know that, they're really pushing different programs out. I know that if you're different ethnics and stuff like that, they're having special things going on for them right now to kind of, again, level that playing field and stuff like that. I think we were talking about that the other day on a different note, but there are a lot of stuff coming out. So it's a good time to check into it if you're renting. And
it is.
Yep.
And like we said, it never hurts to have the information.
No. And then at least it gives you a goal too. If you're like, okay, I need this and this and this to get in this house, then you know what you need to save up for and do. And, yeah.
It's very
good
true.
information. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the cost of waiting because, okay, I don't have that down payment.
Yeah. So and this has really got so jumbled. But I mean, basically, if you were doing a VA loan and you have to come in with nothing, this is a really good option to look at because it's just showing you what your base loan amount is going to be, $525,000. If you were to wait 6 months, that price is going to go up about $6,000. If you waited a year, it's going to go from $525,000 to $549,000. In 2 years, you're going to be paying about $50,000 more than you would have had you bought previously. And then after 3 years, you're looking at about $70,000, $72,000 difference that you'll
Wow,
be
you
paying,
could
and
buy
it's
a
going
new
to
car with
increase your mortgage.
$72,000.
That's huge.
I know, you could buy a new car.
And then some. I mean, if you wanted a high-end one like a Mercedes, yeah.
Right? Exactly.
I don't know anybody who drives those cars.
But so again, is it a good thing to wait? I mean, or do you kind of, okay, the rates are higher again, but maybe like you said, you're not going in, and most people don't buy their dream home, their first home either. It's like we're
Right.
talking about the ones who are just thinking about getting started, like who are renting right now. And this is really geared to you guys. I mean, if you're renting and stuff like that, you need to go talk to somebody and ask those questions and just see what it's going to look like for you.
Most definitely.
You might have to save for a couple of years, but you know what? At least you're on that path to doing this, and you do save so much money, and you save money. I mean, you appreciate your house, and I mean, so you may save money on your personal taxes and stuff like that too. There's a lot of other benefits to it. So,
and just wanted to point out one thing, that the rates might be lower in 3 years, but when you add that lower rate to the higher home price, you're still going to be paying more in 3 years from now, because $72,000 that you're financing is going to be quite a bit of difference in your payment. So ask these questions. Say, hey, Kerri, you know what? I want you to do a scenario for me at $525,000 at 6.75%. And let's just look at it 3 years from now and do that price of $600,000 with a 5.75%. Let me show you what those payments look like so that you can make a good decision and just compare. Is it worth it? Should I wait? Should I buy?
Right. And then, if the interest rates go down, you can always refinance your house and get a better rate. And that's, that's what all the homeowners do. They wait until they go down and they nab it. So,
yep.
Okay. This is some great information. So again, waiting, you can see what happens, you guys. It's going to cost you more money.
It will. Yep. Ultimately.
And your payments, again, might be less when you start renting, but once you get overtime again, initially might, but after that, it's just going to go straight up. So,
yep.
And if I'm skipping everything, let me know.
Nope. I think we're getting close to the end.
Yeah. So you guys, I hope you guys took away some information today. And, like I said, this one was geared more towards our, people who are just starting this path of homeownership. And please do reach out to Kerri or call me, and, we can connect you. I'm on YouTube here. Let's see if I can do this. I can do this. There we go. You can go to YouTube and go at Niki's / Niki's Houses, and shoot me a little message, or I'm on Facebook, I'm on wherever. Shoot me a message and let's talk. Let's see what we can do and hook you up and find out, if we can make some of these goals of yours a dream. Because that's what it is. It's like starting. It's not your dream home, but you know what? You're going to get there. So at least it's a good way to start. Okay. That's all I got for today. You guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and we will see you next week. Same time, same place.
Take care.